You keep it as tight as possible and play safe, and then when it comes time, you go all in and hyper aggressive at the right time.
Well, they are getting set up right now, and it looks like the Dark Elves have won the coin toss. Jimmy, I remember this is a recurring theme last time around. Your opinion is almost always take offense first.
Yes. So here's the thing. I mean, so first of all, that's the advice I always give. Because if you need advice, then that's what you need. So if you're not asking, if you're AndyDavo, sometimes you can kick. If you're LeMarseillais, sometimes you can kick. But if you're asking whether to kick or receive, you should receive.
You'd like to hope that all of the players involved here in the quarterfinals of the World Championship have their own strong opinions, but I think it's worth just expanding on that a little bit. Obviously, we've talked about the format, Vitok, with this situation where you can draw these first two games, right? You don't just have a win-loss situation. Yep. So I suppose one of the feelings with if you take defense first, there is just that risk that with giving up 4 hits to start the game, with giving your opponent the chance to start taking those players off the pitch right away, there is that risk that you end up down players and you end up having a hard time even getting the draw. Whereas I think the philosophy is really, if you take the ball first and you can secure your drive, who knows if you'll be able to get the win, but if you're 1-0 up at half-time, especially with Elves, it becomes very hard for your opponent to even try to win the game, I think is a big part of the thinking on that. And yes. Looking like, Jimmy, that's not going to be fighting the line here maybe, or are they going to fight the line?
It's pretty difficult for them to fight the line, so I imagine they'll Daka, the glorious tactic that everybody loves.
Daka, of course. Jimmy, you're going to remind our audience, who aren't all people who've been watching all the way through, why don't you remind everyone what a Daka is?
So the Daka, or the withdrawn offense, as some people like to call it, it's basically kiting, right? Which is a pretty basic, gaming term that everybody knows. But surprisingly, it took a long time to become popular in Blood Bowl, but it finally did. The coach who was famous for using it was called Matt Daka, so that's why we've got the Matt Daka. That's why we call it the Daka. And yeah, it is essentially you set up anti-blitz like LeMarseillais is doing now. Concede the LOS, you don't hit anybody on the line, you just run everybody back, get the ball deep, and then run away. Now that's unlucky, isn't it? That's really unlucky, because now if he runs back, that witch elf is getting fouled.
Well, that's an interesting question right away, isn't it? Because I think I've had situations like this before using the Daka. I've seen it before. It's also a very awkward kick for a Daka, by the way, right in the top right square. Means that bringing it backwards as far as you want it to is a little awkward. But it really depends on the team you're playing against, whether having that sort of player stunned to start a drive is a good thing or a bad thing. Because if they won't foul you, it's very good for the Dark Elves to have that player there, because it means when they come forward later, you can just use that player. But the OWA do have 13 players, as we've mentioned, so you think, Jimmy, if that's staying there, you'd be fouling it all day long?
100%, yeah, 100%.
100%.
It feels like LeMarseillais' plan is changing, right? If he was planning to Daka positioning in defense there, it would split his team in two, right? So it's probably not the strategy he's going for right now.
Yeah, that looks to me like we're trying to cover that ball as a first priority, and I think it makes a lot of sense because, again, with the Daka, as Jimmy's just been explaining, you're trying to get out of range and avoid being hit in the first few turns of a drive. And here, Jimmy, it really, that kickoff made it almost impossible.
Yeah. The kickoff combined with the stunned witch elf. I think without the stunned witch elf, you could get it back, hand it off behind a screen, and the thing about All World Alliances, they are similar to humans, but they are slow, right? The front line is only movement 4, so and 5 from the blitzer. So I think he really would have taken it back and handed it off, but I think it's the kick combined with the stun witch elf here.
So what's plan B, I suppose, is the question at that point. Where do you go from here? Do you still think about securing the ball this turn, going back next turn, or is it now a battle for position in the middle of the pitch?
Yeah, I think it's the kind of standard to and fro, door-to-door, agility team offense, which is basically like a Daka, but you do it at halfway line and get punched every turn. And based all the time, like Andy's just going to base everything, right? Andy's going to steam in, blitz something with mighty blow tackle or just mighty blow. He could 3 dice with the ogre, probably just going to hit with a mighty blow tackle, and then smash in all of his guard and base it as much as possible.
Ooh, immediate one on that pickup. That is very, very scary. And now, still does the handoff. I was wondering if you'd hand off. So, slightly awkward thing about this build. The Dark Elves, as we saw on the roster sheet before we started, they've taken 3 dodge on their blitzers. We didn't say them more explicitly, maybe we should have done, but they've taken dodge on all 3 of their blitzers. They've taken block on 1 witch elf, they've taken wrestle on 1 witch elf, and they've taken the thrower, which allows them to take the leader reroll, meaning they've only got 2 rostered rerolls while still having 12 players. So that was the trade-off that LeMarseillais has gone for. I think the trade-off with Dark Elves is very much between, do you want more rerolls? Do you want 12 players? Do you want the apothecary? Those are the main decisions for Dark Elves when they're building a roster at this TV level. And the choice that LeMarseillais went for, again, was 12 players, get that extra reroll using the leader skill. But that does mean, as Jimmy did mention when we were looking at the rosters, that you have to have one of your blitzers without a skill, which was the one who picked the ball up. They start with block skill, but they don't have any added skills. And it does mean that you have that leader runner who you almost have to protect because you don't want that piece getting hit because it's carrying a reroll for you. Now, we've already had to spend the reroll, which is awkward. And now, Jimmy, there's the added awkward part that you're carrying on a player who doesn't have dodge.
Yes, I mean, and you're also with this. What you're doing as well by taking the leader runner, you're giving up dodge on that 4th blitzer, who he's the one who just picked it up. He could have just been holding it with block and dodge. So yeah, I think the runner is just basically a weaker player. It is a little bit faster, like it's okay, like it's like having a wood elf lineman on your team, but it's definitely weaker. You've weakened your team because you've given up a blodge runner. Blotch blitzer. So yeah, it's a bit tricky, but what he does have is that reliability, and he's used the reroll, so he's got value straight away from that. So he won't feel too bad that he's got the ball on the runner instead of a blodger.
And I will ask the noob question here because I don't have the same experience than you. If you are playing Dark Elf, still you don't want probably to be punched too hard from the beginning of the game, right? You could not do the Daka. Could it be like a 2-turn Daka, let's say? Would you try, to go back to the back of your pitch at this stage of the game, or no? You pretty much just totally involved in the fight, and you have to find your way through that.
Why don't you answer that one, Jimmy?
Yeah, you could try. I mean, so this is the thing. Like Andy has to base up intelligently to kind of prevent that, right? He has to make it so that LeMarseillais got so much engaged that it's not easy for LeMarseillais to get back, and it's not easy for him to switch. And then and he basically pulls him. Andy's trying to pull him into the fight, and LeMarseillais he's probably going to try and just switch it as much as possible. I think it's hard to pull back now. He might try to pull back. I mean, he's got a screen going here, but yeah, he's doing this kind of door-to-door. You see, this is how Olivier Delac plays pretty much every game. He kind of half dackers. He takes it around this area, goes left to right, and eventually his opponent makes a mistake and he goes through. And even Andy can make mistakes, so there's a chance by doing this that something will happen. Whereas if you try and dodge back and you fail early, then he's got to make 3 dodgeless dodges here if he tries to pull back, and that's just if he fails the first one, then it's a disaster. So I think it does make sense to go side to side from now on.
Yeah, again, the position of that kick, really hard to overstate how awkward that was, because LeMarseillais has obviously made a very sensible choice to really cover that pickup and make sure you don't fail the pickup. But now, as Jimmy's just said, so you get this dodge more or less for free because it has dodge skill, but every other dodge that you have to make here doesn't have dodge skill. And if you fail one, because you've already spent a reroll, you more or less can't spend another reroll this early in the drive. So it hasn't happened, but for instance, if the first dodge had failed there, I think you would have been seeing a lot of hits given up. You might have been seeing a player getting surfed. It would have been a very, very punishing situation for LeMarseillais. And one thing that Andy said to me actually in the build-up to this one, he did mention It's a bit of an unloved skill, but just getting that armbar skill in on the Dark Elves that don't have dodge skill, because if they do end up falling over, that extra chance to remove things, it all helps. And we do tease him about being a banger, Andy, but he is onto something that when you remove enough of your opponent's players, the game gets an awful lot easier. So he's definitely got that in mind.
They are only 12, I would say, the Dark Elves, so yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And 12 is, again, it's more than they could have, because Purple Chest build, which has gone for the other end of that trade-off, where he's taken the 4 rerolls but only has 11 players. So 12 feels generous compared to that. Although what we also see is LeMarseillais has no apothecary, and I think that's another of the really interesting questions in especially elf teams in these sorts of tournaments, when you're asking, is it better to have 12 players or is it better to have 11 players with the apothecary, because the apothecary can keep a more important player, whereas your 12th player will be a lineman, for instance. So all interesting decisions that come up, and a really nice push here by Andy, because this means he will get an extra hit out of this.
And notice he's going for the more valuable players, right? Because there's no apothecary for LeMars. He's straight away targeting the blitzers with a tackle mighty. He could have picked off a lineman, pushed him onto the ogre and stuff, but he's trying to max the hits on the valuable players.
That's a great observation, because yes, every one of those hits with tackle mighty blow, it's roughly 55% to get a knockdown, whereas if you hit a lineman, it's a good increase up to about 75% to get a knockdown. And of course, we don't get to roll armor unless we get the knockdown. So he is choosing the ones, as Jimmy says, that are a little bit harder to get down. But if he does get one off the pitch, there is no apothecary, there's no coming back. And at that point, again, the strategy of basing these Dark Elves up, making them dodge away from you, all gets more powerful as the dodge comes off the pitch. And as we see a brawler roll, not much longer for this this slightly less powerful form of OWA, is it? In the new edition of the game, Jimmy, they're going to look very different.
Oh, they're going to look amazing. One of the best teams in the game in the new edition. Absolutely incredible. They're losing Loner off all of the players. And, well, not the Ogre, but everyone except the Ogre. The Tree Man loses Loner. They're pretty much all losing Loner, and the Dwarves get block instead of Armbar and Brawler. They get block and defensive. So the Dwarves, like linemen, are great. They get an extra one. They get a strength 3 catcher, which is unbelievable. They get their blitzer starts with tackle. Like, it's an incredible upgrade for the Lions in the forthcoming Warhammer Blood Bowl.
Vitok will be a challenge for next year's edition to work out the balance on all the team packs. But
it will be.
That was
even, like, we are at the end of this rule set, there is still big debates, I feel, on the rule set, and it's always big talks, and it's funny for me, because obviously I initiate those discussions with people that really know it, and I always see what people fear when they look at the rule set, it will be only Amazon at the end, or this kind of stuff,
Yeah.
So finally, it's quite balanced. So we are in a pretty good spot. But yes, next World Championship, well, I will count on tabletop first to get us a very good one.
Ooh, one dice skull. That's a reroll. Ooh, boy. Turn 3, already down to 1 reroll, feels very uncomfortable. But I guess what we're going for here is just maximizing blocks, which I feel like I've talked to you about this, Jimmy, before when I've joined you on casts. It's just never a bad thing, is it, to maximize your blocks where you can?
Wow, it might be if you start with a 1 dice block. That is a decision from LeMars. I thought this was quite an easy blitz the catcher, put in a load of assists and block the mighty blow tackle, but I don't know why he started with a 1 dice block. I don't know if he just miscounted. That seems a very wild start to just start with a 1 dice block.
Certainly a tough punishment for it, because having made that decision, you more or less just have that one. It's effectively, if you roll a 1, you're going to have to re-roll it. Anything else, you can keep it. But he did roll the 1, so now only 1 reroll again for the whole drive. And again, you are carrying the ball on someone who doesn't have dodge, which means that if you get based, you're going to have to really think about how to make that as safe as you can.
Where do you get the ball actually? Will you just go back in your field here? Because I feel like there is no very safe place where to put the ball now, right?
Yeah, I
think
would
he
agree
has
with
to,
that.
yeah.
And it feels like, Jimmy, we're trying to claim that space on the right. I know I've heard Purple Chess talk before about don't waste any time. When you see the space, you take the space. But is this too early? And is it a good enough space that he's going for?
Yes and no. I think this is. I mean, he's not taking. The thing is, all the lines are really slow. So if you do side to side, you can scoot around them. So it's just really hard. Though, yeah, the one reroll is it's not a disaster yet, but it's really really uncomfortable, isn't it? Super mega uncomfortable for LeMarseillais now, but. Overall, I think the matchup favours him. Like, I really do. All the lines are slow. Yes, they've got a great package they've got. But Andy can hit the ball here, by the way, if he does things. So
What have you
see.
spotted? I was trying to work out if there was a way to chain that ogre forward, and I think there
Yes.
might be, right?
Yes, correct. Yeah. You punch with the line. Are we allowed to say plays before they happen? There's no controversy about people picking up tips, is there?
No, they don't. Don't worry. Just cast the way you do usually.
Yeah. I mean, we know that Andy's definitely not listening.
I know the
because he's been
referee is there casting with you, so it's a bit stressful. But don't worry, Jimmy.
Yes.
I've been trying to not point out plays just in case there was any controversy. But yeah, the play here is the lineman punches the blodger, pushes him diagonally down. Then the blitzer then you fill in the space with a lineman. Then the blitzer punches, he changes the ogre in, he punches the guy, and then that opens the ball to get one diced, which one dice isn't great, but it's still a nice thing to do, isn't it? Kind of for
Definitely.
free, like you're still just punching things, which is good.
And you also, if you can create that blitz situation with the Dark Elf runner having dump off skill, you create that dilemma for LeMarseillais if he even uses the dump off skill rather than risk getting hit on a one dice, and then you again put them in a really awkward spot with being down to one reroll. However, Andy has not gone for it. He's gone for the blitz at the top there.
Yeah, I mean, this is the safe play. This is probably what I'd do as well, right? Andy's feeling confident now. LeMarseillais down to one reroll. You know, he knows that if he just plays conservatively, keeps LeMarseillais having to roll dice, blitz the deepest player. Like, that's the usual positional blitz, is to just hit the deepest player. And now he can set 3 dice with the ogre, which is more chance of removal. Like, Andy is a great banger. He really is. It's and like, look, he's maxed the mighty blow hits. That is a good skill to do. But he's got a little less pressure this turn than he could have had. But LeMarseillais is still under the cosh just due to the reroll situation.
Yeah, we tease Andy again a lot, and he invites it a lot on his stream because he likes to troll people as well. But he doesn't get these removals by chance. He gets them because he is so good, as you say, Jimmy, at just maximizing the opportunities to get those removals. Which, even as I was saying a second ago, the fact that he is someone who has that thought specifically in his head about armbar and a skill that a lot of people tend to just laugh off and say it's not the greatest skill, but you maximize every advantage that you have, don't you? And if they start with that skill, then why not be thinking about how to get something out of that as well? So very much who Andy is and what he does, as we see a nice push here to save a dodge, maybe?
Yeah, and open a bit of space as well. Opens up the diagonal a bit, doesn't it? So you could take it. You could also go on the other side. You can dodge off and go around the top. You can seal it off quite well here. I think turn 4 is a reasonable turn to start making some moves. The problem is the ball is so far behind. We're going to have to do like a ball transfer in the next turns probably, but still pretty decent actually. Just from Andy did let up on the pressure this turn. And all the lines are really slow, so he's in constant danger of just getting outmaneuvered a bit here, Andy. This is what he's got to worry about.
I feel like we've already hit our first running phrase of the weekend. Last year we had some phrases that ended up repeating, which were like the bobble box and Jimmy's 100%. I feel like "Old World Alliance are really slow" is becoming our catchphrase of the weekend. Oh, there you go, the handoff happens. Gosh, that's a scary handoff, but it succeeded.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, fair play to have the bravery to do it. Like, it was going to have to happen at some point. So, and I guess now when you can get away from the mighty blow tackler is a decent way to do it.
This is a thing that I've heard you talking about recently, Jimmy. It's a thing that I think about a lot when I play elves on offense. Sometimes rolling a scary 2+ earlier in a drive is better than waiting to roll 3 2+s at the end of a drive, which obviously we don't know how this drive's going to end, but I think that's the thinking sometimes, isn't it? You risk that one scary roll because you think it's going to gain you more later in the drive.
Yes, yeah, that is my weakness generally is doing that sort of thing. Yeah, play as safe as possible, and then all of a sudden, whoops! I wish I'd played a little bit risky earlier. But I think it's it's a really hard one to judge. I think mostly you're going to be okay if you don't do that, and also everyone's okay with the draw in these games, aren't they? Well, in the first game, you're happy with the draw, so I think the happier you are with the draw, the happier you are to not roll dice until late. And also, like, rolling dice late is pretty good, especially if you save your rerolls, right? Like, just make all of the rolls on turn 8 with 3 rerolls when they're 2+s is fine. So it's a bit dodgy.
Certainly has got him a strong position, though, here. The ball is fairly unassailable. We did just see, by the way, oh, actually, I think it might not have mattered because I think it was off tackle. I was about to say we did just see the cost of not putting dodge on that last blitzer because it did roll a 1 and fall over, but actually I think it was dodging away from tackle, so it wouldn't have mattered in this case. I'm wondering, Vitok, if we can hear, I don't know if it's loud enough, somewhere in this building, AndyDavo complaining that he hasn't got a removal yet. I'm listening for it.
You know, I made sure he's in the room, isolated, so we don't hear him screaming when he has bad dice. So we should be fine. But that's the thing I was about to say. You know, Andy is there with us. He knows he's in Paris the whole weekend. So well, he's not. He can play the draw, you know, and go up to the end of the last match, and on overtime he doesn't care. He's there. He has nothing else to do.
Exactly. Yes, he's got no other responsibilities. We always appreciate with this finals weekend, you've got 8 players who all have real lives, who have families, who have kids, who have other responsibilities. It is a big commitment everyone makes to participate, but of course also a big opportunity to have your chance to be the #1 Blood Bowl free player in the world, which is what it's all about, really. It's all about the glory. We know that. The cash is very welcome, I'm certain, but everyone we talk to always says what they really want is to win, because that's the sort of person who competes in these tournaments. And Andy certainly fits into that bracket. Very competitive individual, and certainly everything I know about LeMarseillais says he's very much the same mould. Pretty much just a recovery turn here for the Old World Alliance, isn't it, Jimmy? Just getting across the pitch and putting the pressure on again.
Yeah, seeing he's put the ogre up here, so now the ogre's going to get left behind a bit, you know, probably. LeMarseillais is going to try and turn the corner, leave everything behind, and see that also Andy has had to get the mighty blow tackler deep. He's got the thrower deep, and, you know, he's bracketed the lineman the other side. So it's tricky. It's a good turn from Andy, this. A subtly good turn from Andy. This is tricky for LeMarseillais. Maybe he could try and come back through the centre somehow.
Oh, I don't like coming back. Turn 5 with movement 7 seems like you could get stuck.
Yeah, no, I don't like it, especially with only one reroll.
Yeah. Sorry, Vitor, what you said?
I mean, if you come back, maybe you put back the ogre into play when you can just get rid of him.
Yeah, I do think Andy, as Jimmy said, has given a difficult question here, because now you're stuck between, do I push forwards? And I feel like, unless Jimmy's seeing something that I'm not, if you push forward this turn, you can make it pretty safe and almost certainly score on turn 6. It's just that you don't want to score on turn 6. Yeah. Would you say that's fair, Jimmy?
Yeah, I think that's probably what you have to do. The problem, I mean, it's not that safe though, is it? Right? You've got a free player, and you've got the ball, and you've got the witch elf on a 2+, and then nothing else is kind of safe, right? The blitzers on tackle and everything else is miles behind. So yeah, it's not super safe to even get it in on turn 6.
Because the thing is,
not the witch elf.
You've been talking about how slow OWA are, and I completely take that point. But Dark Elves aren't that fast. Yes, they're fast in the average team, but they are still only in this build, it's 5 players who are movement 7. Most of the team is movement 6. So you can leave a lot of players behind if you get, as we're seeing here, stretched from north to south, as it were, right? You've got players quite a long way back at the back who are only movement 6 and who have to go backwards a square to move forwards because they have to dodge that way.
Yes, I mean that was what happened with the pressure from Andy and the ball transfer from LeMarseillais, right?
This is nice. He's got the hit on tackle Mighty Blow and he's got the power.
Yeah, that's pretty nice.
No image. Sorry, I wanted to pause there in case it suddenly killed it, but it didn't. So keep saying your point, Jimmy.
No, yeah, that's pretty nice. Yeah, no, he disconnected it himself, didn't he? The thing is, LeMarseillais got into this spot, and Andy put him in it a bit, but they're still fast. They've got 7 movement 7, like that's pretty fast. And then like the Orwell lines, that is their weakness, is the slowness.
I miscounted. You're right. There's 7 of them.
Yeah, they've got quite a lot of movement 7, so it's one of the faster Dark Elf teams, but not as much dodge normally as usual. He's got the skill on leader, which we'd rather have dodge. But yeah, he's managed to protect it this turn, which is good. And then maybe next turn he can scoot down, or the turn after. So it's not looking bad for LeMarseillais. Just uncomfortable. It's the one reroll is what makes everything frightening for him, isn't it, at the moment?
I think that was actually like a very calm turn, because I was looking at that and thinking, oh gosh, if I'm in LeMarseillais' shoes, I'm thinking, am I going to make that push and force myself to score early? And he didn't actually do that at all. He saw he could keep his position if he took a few blocks, and of course there are dice to roll. If those dice go badly, as you say, with the reroll gone, it could have got really uncomfortable fast. But actually, the way he did it allowed him not to split his own team and allowed him to give himself a chance to get lucky by hitting that tackle Mighty Blow, which it is getting to the point now. Turn 5 for Andy. It's going to be turn 6 coming up for LeMarseillais. I don't think we've seen a single armor break at all in this game so far.
No, this is
that's a curse. That's a curse casted.
That is commentator curse. I'm sorry.
It's a curse casted for sure. We will see. We will see if it is or not. But you said that turn 6, LeMarseillais probably don't want to score because it's too early. 3 turns is more than enough for the All World Alliance. But when you're playing versus All World Alliance, can you afford scoring on turn 7 and be a bit safe, or this movement 8 piece is just too scary?
Jimmy, I could throw that one to you again.
Yeah, it's 6 and 2 3s. I mean, Dark Elves are one of the best defensive teams anyway. So if they still had 2 rerolls, then scoring early is not so bad. They can do things. But again, if they have to use their reroll to score and now they're defending with no rerolls, which is what you might have to do, then defending ever with 0 rerolls is terrifying. The 2 turn isn't terrible for all the lines, but it's worse than their 3 turn significantly because most of the team is slow. So yeah, it matters more with like the 3, the 4 turn drives, whereas the 2 turn is actually quite decent because you just need to get your catcher in range, and you can kind of do that kind of easily. Ish. He's probably gonna have to make 2 rushes to score, but he only has to go 3 squares in. So it's more like a normal drive that their movement is a bigger hindrance, I would say.
Well, if anyone was watching last year when it wasn't on finals weekend, it was right before, but when Jalev, who we mentioned before, had a very famous series with Olivier Dulac, they will know that OWA don't necessarily need even 2 turns to score. They can make those 1 turns work with the right dice.
With him.
Jalev certainly can.
That's true. I forgot about the Halfling on the bench.
I think Olivier Dulac is still remembering those halfling throws every evening when he goes to bed. He seems to still remember them very vividly. Another turn of Andy there, while we were talking, just absolutely maximising his blocks. I'm going to say confidently now. He's getting a little bit annoyed that he hasn't been able to do any damage at all, because there have been quite a few hits. But good news certainly for LeMarseillais, who now has a lot of flexibility, including, of course, that Witch Elf on the floor has jump up, so she can hit there or she can dodge.
Yeah, it's still tricky though. He's got the guard behind the Mighty Blow, so he doesn't really want to, he doesn't really want to frenzy trap himself. He's got a blitz. He could dodge with this dodge guy, the dodge blitzer there next to the armbar. He could dodge him to blitz the thrower, and then but then his other dodges are dodgeless because the tackle's on 2 players, so it's very tricky for him. Like he's just the lack of rerolls is killing him right now. If he had 3 rerolls at this point, he'd be very happy just dodging everything off and no problem. Whereas now, he's going to have to blitz with the ball, and the question is now, does he try and fight the tackle mighty or not?
There come the armor breaks. It's on the thrower, who is fine but stunned. That's not fine at all, is it? They're stunned, but not removed, is what I meant.
And there we go. So one dodge is enough, and then now the rest can come. And if they fail, it's not that bad.
Is he sizing up this jump up hit, or is he dodging that? Because that is the tackle mighty blow piece he would get to hit.
Yeah, he's just going to dodge it, I'm sure.
It would be 2 into 1, but I don't know if that's off the table. We'll see. I think we maybe learn a bit about what LeMarseillais likes. Oh, he goes for the dodge, does get tackled, and it's last reroll.
I guess you keep it.
I think you keep the reroll here because you have enough of a screen, but you're probably worth thinking about. It's an important moment in the drive. The ball is safe, which is the most important thing.
And you've got a guy who, the blodger there can
Is
also
the ball
get...
safe? Maybe the ball isn't safe. There might be a chain push to get the mighty blow tackle onto the second witch elf. Oh, KO. Are you seeing what I'm seeing, Jimmy? If you can fill those squares to the left of the mighty blow tackle.
Yes, yep. And then you could surf the ball,
So
as if Andy needs any encouragement to do that.
The question is whether or not he's got players free to fill those squares. He's got at least one down there. Maybe.
He does, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 players free.
And this feels like the point, turn 6 of the drive, where if you're going to take the ball, play it's now or never, really, isn't it? Because if you don't, Andy's seen it. He's going for it right away. Not surprised, knowing Andy.
It's a 3 dice as well, which is wonderful.
Yeah, he's not one to miss the chain pushes normally. So big opportunity. Doesn't get the knockdown. Sorry, that's a blodger, but still gets the push.
Which doesn't free his Slayer, but he can still then chain the blitzer onto the ball.
Yes. Oh, yes. Yeah, very nice. So now you could, instead of hitting the witch elf with the tackle mighty blow, you can just hit the ball with tackle mighty blow.
It's 1 die, right?
It will be 1 die, yeah. You'll need to cancel. Well,
But 3 rerolls, so yeah.
Oh, no.
But 3 reroll. Oh, no, it is loner.
They've got loner.
Oh, yeah.
You have to re-roll it, but it's a loner 3+. Makes the loner roll. Oh, my goodness. Oh. Well, the nice thing about that, actually, the second push means you've now done all the cancelling. Gets the knockdown on the ball with tackle and mighty blow.
Near the...
Huge scatter here. Will it go out of bounds? Very
Near the
nicely
side
done
of
by
the pitch.
Andy.
On the armor break.
Oh, scatter is in, but...
Oh.
Oh, magnet hands.
The French flair. That's how we call it.
The what, sorry?
The French flair. It's something in
French
rugby.
flair. Okay.
It's kind of the same.
A little bit of French flair from LeMarseillais playing on home soil. I hope LeMarseillais doesn't mind being called LeMarseillais. It's what I instinctively am shortening it to, but I don't actually know if that's a shortening that he
The thing, like, LeMarseillais mean like someone from Marseille, like you would say a Londonian for someone from London. So LeMars sounds like someone from planet Mars.
Okay, so I shouldn't use LeMarseillais. Okay. We don't know.
So maybe he is. If he makes it all the way to the end, maybe he is from the stars,
exactly. Maybe that's actually from Italian. I quite often see when there's a really great athlete or someone who's really brilliant, they refer to them as a Martian. So maybe we're going to be calling LeMarseillais a Martian by the end of this. But for now, he's got problems to solve. He could score on I think it's 3 2+s, but I think he's going to do the block with the witch elf first, which would be
3 2+s, but with the tackle.
Yeah. I think you'd rather move the tackle if you can. Puts the safety back in case this all goes wrong.
Oh.
Yeah, 1-2 plus, blitz the tackle, and then you can score. But you might as well just. It depends if you use the reroll. If you use the reroll, I think you score, and if you don't use the reroll, then you stop.
Oh yeah.
So hasn't used a reroll.
And that gives him the 2+ rerollable with a witch elf, so that, like, at least he gets the tackle off there. It does trap the other blitzer somewhat.
Yeah. Yes, I see what you mean now. That blitz is a bit stuck, but you can build the screen here, which is what he's thinking about. Not taking it. Decides he wants to score. Oh, very, very tense. I'm wondering how Andy is feeling. Obviously, when he gets that sack, there's the dream scenario in his head where it goes out of bounds and it's just his ball. And then you get the scatter back and you think, God, disaster, I've missed my chance. 2 turns. 2 turns is not nothing. How, if you were in Andy's shoes, Jimmy, how confident would you be feeling about that you could get this touchdown?
100%.
100%. There it is. One for the fans. A callback to last year. 100%. I think that Andy will definitely be feeling happier than he did a second ago when that scatter catch was caught. Very, very interesting. What do we think even the approach here is for the OWA? So they have got, as we know, the slightly less good thrower than the humans get. The OWA thrower has passing 3+. It also has animosity with players of other races, which probably is not relevant because you're not going to be throwing to a dwarf. You're going to be throwing to one of the human players because they're faster. But I imagine we will see the halfling on the pitch to give you the option of the throw teammate. Yes, the halfling is on the pitch. Yep. So you give yourself, I think, as many opportunities as you can here, right, Jimmy? Just give yourself as many different ways of approaching it as you can.
Yes, yeah, I'm not a fan of this setup from LeMarseillais giving up the wing here because Andy has to. He's giving up a surf, right? He's just going to surf him with the Slayer, and then he's going to run forward. And yeah, this is I'm not loving the defense from LeMarseillais. Actually, I wouldn't be 100% confident, but I'd be somewhat confident. I'd have the Ogre Central here, right? So he's next to the Halfling. I don't like disconnecting the Ogre and the Halfling from Andy's point of view. But yeah, interesting.
Well, peeling back the curtain for our viewers for a second, partly because I forgot that I had the tablet available to me. I have not been seeing chat until just now, as I'm now finally seeing chat for the first time in this cast. And Jomini is calling for a fling toss. So the chat know what they want. But yes, I am looking at the way Andy has set up, and I think that that Troll Slayer is eyeing that free surf on the right-hand side of the formation, and no doubt creating the space for themselves. Although if I was Andy personally, with the number of double skulls he rolled against J-Lev in the last round, and having just rolled a double skull on that Troll Slayer again, I imagine he's feeling pretty anxious.
I guess you keep the halfling maybe for the next turn if something didn't go as planned, right? It's like the last resort for turn 8, in case he cannot make the 2 turns.
Yes, yeah. You fling's the last resort. Also can like dodge through and complete a screen potentially, right? Like there's a chance of it being able to do something that isn't just last ditch scoring attempt. There is a chance of it being something, but mostly you just want to try and just do a human 2-turn really. But with some dwarves.
I believe you've got control of the screen. I've had a request in chat for a skill for the position rings, if we could have those, and only the chosen skills, which might make the picture a bit easier to see.
Yes.
So the coloured skill rings, position rings, will show us which positions on the pitch, and if we just get just the added skills instead of the basic skills, I actually think that will make sense.
I will keep all the skills because I think for beginners it's better to have all the skills than only the added one.
Ooh, that's not a surf, it's a knockdown.
Ooh.
Okay, so we're going to keep the added skills, all the skills on for now, so that's available for the newer players. We have had a request as well to turn off the Jim and Bob commentary, which you can hear in the background, but I think that would distract from the current game, so we'll maybe do that in the gap between this game and the next one, we can mute them, but we don't want to go to the menu screen right now while the action is happening. A little inconvenient for Andy that player didn't leave the pitch, right? Because now that player you have to position around, whereas if it had gone off, you have more space to work with. Is this going to be a handoff or ball transfer to the catcher right away, do we think, or are we going to move the catcher forward first?
Maybe the catcher just picks it up himself.
Yeah, could do. But then we run into that issue that I was just mentioning of that player lying down there is now in an awkward square, because if you pick it up on the catcher, you can't go forward as many squares and you have to do some rushes.
Yes, I think he's going to double rush with the catcher.
Right. Does put in a scoring threat right away, so we've got at least one lineman scoring threat. In fact, we have 2 scoring threats because there's a halfling on the pitch. Never underestimate the halfling.
Star of the show.
Andy has named his players, so that is someone from his chat. That's MC Cruel, I believe. So Cruel is waiting for flinging duties, but in the meantime, we're getting several scoring threats forward, which I personally do like. Catcher goes to the pickup, fails the pickup. 3 rerolls, fails it on the reroll. Oh boy.
Oof. Well, don't say it's over, but that is an absolute killer for Andy.
So you want
he can
to kill
get
the
his,
halfling?
oh my god, you can surf the tackle.
Yeah.
Yes, could do. Although, would you prioritize that over surfing a player next to the ball?
Yes, 100%. You have to surf. You literally have to surf this because he didn't get the surf. Because Andy didn't get the surf. You deal with both scoring threats in one go.
Yeah, I can see that. So, Jimmy, talk people through that, because I see what you're talking about. You're filling the square underneath, but why don't you explain to people what you're seeing?
Yeah, so the guy on the sideline dodges away, goes up a couple of squares. I guess the leader runs all the way around to be above the blitzer, and then you simply blitz with a witch elf here. Blitz the guard guy, pushes him forward 1. So you'll need actually, he's got a player in the wrong square for it, I guess. That blitzer should have been, directly above the guy.
He's not going for it?
Well,
Maybe
he's not going for it. Oh, I think he definitely should have done. Oh, I think he definitely should have done. That would have been really good. It would have been 2 dice into 2 dice. And, it does mean that, so doing it this, you would have started with a 1 in 36, chance of failure, and now he doesn't have to do that, and he gets to make a really strong screen. Mm-hmm. So, this is still good for stopping the score. It's a low percentage score from Andy anyway, right? And if you start with a 1 in 36, well, actually, you would have started with, all of your other safe moves. But, you would have, that 1 in 36 dodge rather than the blitz is a bit less safe as your first dice roll. You could also go to pick up the ball afterwards anyway, right? So, which he's not going for. That dodger could have just dodged through that screen.
That's what I thought when I first saw the ball staying there, is you could actually just get that as the elves, right? You could just make that your ball. Then you sort of took them at your serve. This situation now is becoming such a bunker. I'm genuinely thinking to myself, is the best play to hand off to that halfling and throw it? Because if you do throw the halfling, you can throw it to the empty side of the pitch.
Yeah, it's not the best play, it's the only play. He's defended this too well and given Andy only one option.
So
I'm surprised he didn't try to punch the halfling.
Yeah, he could have hit the halfling. I thought he was going to. Keith has just said the same thing in chat. I actually wonder if he should have hit the halfling there, but he didn't. So now the halfling really starts to look like a pretty viable option. You can hand off with the catcher.
The only option, I guess, right? Because going through there is not going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's literally defended too well.
Yeah. It's possible to do. I mean, not to make it all about me, but I remember in my playoff game against Dion Lord, you saying on commentary, Jimmy, that because I defended on the last turn of overtime, so I'd made it so hard for him to score, he was not going to risk scoring and giving me the ball back, and so he took the draw and ended up winning on kicks. Maybe it's better to give your opponent like that tiny sliver of hope so that they take a risk and give you a chance of winning. I mean, that's a pretty difficult position to take sometimes, but it's an interesting thought.
Yeah, one or the other, right? You give them something that's really unlikely, but not, not not lock down. Like lock
Yeah.
down everything is the best, obviously, right? If he just hit the fling as well, and then
Yeah.
there's no route at all. But unfortunately, he completely shut down one and made the other one quite easy. I mean, it's easy as it gets, right? This is like
Yeah.
what 3+2+3+ to get it to the fling, and then the ogre toss. Like this is as easy as a toss gets, really.
Does the old
Zero.
world catcher have animosity handing off to the halfling? I actually have no idea. Yes, it does.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
Thank you for
One more roll.
So it's an extra 2+ roll in there for handing off to the halfling, because that catcher Dizzy does not want Cruel to score this touchdown. Apparently, that's what the law says. But we'll find out. Has picked the ball up this time. Can she make the handoff? Makes the rush, makes the animosity, fails the handoff. Got a reroll for that. Makes it with the reroll. So we've got one reroll for the actual halfling toss. Chat wanted a halfling toss. And as Giraffe saying in chat, did make a bubble box there. Very nice by Andy. Here we go. Oh, the ogre has succeeded. That's okay. You can keep that.
Oh,
Lands it. Two rushes to the end zone with 2 rerolls.
Yeah. And
They've
makes
done it! Halfling touchdown in game 1 of our World Championship quarterfinals. That's what the crowd want. We know everyone loves a halfling touchdown and a halfling chicken dance.
You know, we were joking saying he's the star of the show. Actually, he is the star of the show.
Absolutely, absolutely the star of the show. Halfling touchdown.
She's not coming back.
Oh boy, that's a huge swing, isn't it, Jimmy? I mean, now suddenly from looking like a solid position to at least get a draw, you have to say Andy becomes instant favourite.
Huge favourite now, yeah. He's just got to get his drive done, hasn't he? There's very little of chance of a one-turn touchdown for Dark Elves in general. So if Andy can get his drive done, he just seals the win almost certainly. And he's got a full team. LeMarseillais is down in quality with losing the Witch Elf. So yeah, I think this is looking really good for Andy to pick up the game 1 victory.
I think it's really easy to make the, if you want to call it a mistake, the oversight that LeMarseillais just did, because you look at the more obvious threats on defence to go for those human scoring threats that the OWA had. But I do think what makes this one feel so bad in terms of, not in terms of being critical, but just in terms of such like an important one, was you actually didn't even have to use your blitz to hit that halfling. You had a player there, and you could even have left that player until your last action, not brought in an assist and taken it as a 1 dice, because as Thulian has just said in chat, even a push on that play, because of where it landed, would have put it out of range. So actually, even 1 square back could have been all the difference on that succeeding or failing. If you do it as your last action, you can even take the both down. So absolutely, I do think that LeMarseillais will be kicking himself. LeMarseillais, not LeMarse, because we don't know if he's Martian, will be kicking himself for not taking that hit on the halfling.
Yes, yeah, the bolt down would have been good enough. Funnily enough, the push probably wouldn't have been good enough, because then Andy would have blitzed that lineman to try and chain forward his halfling into just more forward.
Oh, maybe, yeah, good thinking.
Yeah.
Would depend on Andy's approach at that point.
He had nothing else to do, right? Like, there was nothing else he could do, so I'm sure he would have maximised the chance of scoring.
Yeah.
But he just over defended the normal way, didn't he, LeMarse? That was the problem. Sorry, I can't not call him LeMarse. I've called him LeMarse forever. He's never complained
I'm
to me
sure
about
he
it.
won't mind. We've explained our reasoning at least, so hopefully he won't mind. But I know you've called him that on cast up till now, and I'm sure he would have let you know if he was really disliking it. So here we go then. So Greasy Cleats has put a movement bust on just the one player, I think, the Dark Elf runner.
There seems to be the runner, which will run less.
A little bit less of a runner, more of a walker at this point, but still has the leader, which is really its number one reason for being, especially on defense, that Dark Elf runner. So the question now becomes, obviously, this is just a a start to the drive. The kick is in the middle. Andy's going to look to stabilise. But the question will be for the Dark Elves how aggressive to play it. We had that interview with LeMarseillais at the start. He talked about seeing himself as a coach who can switch between the more passive and aggressive styles, doesn't necessarily go hell for leather right at the start of the drive, although that KO is going to hurt him. But will we see a greater urgency than we would have done if this game was 1-0? Will we see a bit more perhaps of that spirit again that we've seen from the other Dark Elves in this tournament of looking for the cage dives early? I suppose, Jimmy, it's too hard to answer that question until we see where that ball is at the end of this first turn.
I think. Well, I don't know. I think it's the same answer. Whatever happens, it's just entirely based on the situation, like the board position, right? Like if the more players he loses, the more desperate he gets. The more he has to try cave dives to change the situation. The more players he has, the safer he can be. The deeper Andy is in his own half, the safer LeMars can be. If Andy gets a load of early penetration and stuff, and then he's got to pick cage halfway into LeMars' half, then he gets more desperate again. So it's just entirely off board position.
I was about to say, or if there's a failed pickup, but that didn't quite happen. Sure hands on the human thrower coming to the rescue. That was a scary one for Andy, no doubt.
If only he could have secured the ball like the new edition.
Absolutely, new edition. Although in that situation, would you have chosen to secure the ball? I suppose you would have just put some more players back, but you certainly would have wanted to have the cage built around it before doing it because...
You would not move after secure the ball, right?
Yeah, once you've used secure the ball, you don't get those last squares of movement.
Yeah, and you would have to use your team reroll to reroll it to make it better than a sure hands pickup. But I think you would I think it's a really good rule because you have got that decision to make. Like sure hands is better than it if you're not putting in a reroll. But if you're willing to put in a reroll, then secure the ball's better. And is this the only way you lose from a failed pickup? If it is, then put the reroll in and secure the ball. So I think it's a cool rule, very cool rule.
I think it's one of those rules that's going to create some really interesting dynamics, not just in the games, but also in the team building, right? Because does that lead to some teams choosing not to take sure hands because you think, well, I can use secure the ball, and so I have that skill to put on a different player, whereas you do see sure hands taken on ball carriers sometimes in tournaments now. But then that, again, has a further knock-on because then you're thinking, if I don't take sure hands, does that mean the teams with strip ball, your Skaven, your Wood Elves, does it advantage those teams? And I think that's one of the things that's going to be so exciting with Warhammer Blood Bowl coming out is discovering how those dynamics all play off each other.
Does secure the ball combine with sure hand or not? Can you re-roll
No, so you would have to you'd have to choose if you're going to make a secure the ball roll, which is a 2+, or if you're going to use your regular sure hands pickup.
Okay.
But once you've picked up the ball, if you have sure hands skill, that at least means you have got protection against strip ball. So I think it's going to be, again, really fun. It's already started on tabletop, of course. The tabletop rules are now out, and we will have the rules in Blood Bowl 3 before. Well, not in Blood Bowl 3, in the online Warhammer Blood Bowl before too long. But for now, these rules are that you have to rely on your agility level, and as we saw, creates that little bit of scariness on the pickup. But now that the ball has been picked up, Jimmy, I feel like when you were talking about the matchup before, you were saying you like the Dark Elves, just in like an abstract way, like which team do you think has the advantage in the matchup? You said you like the Dark Elves, but I feel like on offense for OWA here, you have the ball on a strength 3 player who's got block, and you've got so much guard that you can make it very hard for the Dark Elves to get at. Unlike, for instance, in the last round, we saw Purple Chest Dark Elves against Tektor's Lizardmen, where Lizardmen really can't make that ball so safe because it's strength 2 and there's no guard.
Yeah, true. But you can just stand in the way, right? Like you can stand in the way as Dark Elves and just get the 1-0 win as it could have been had LeMars defended the fling toss. So I would back him to win 1-0 rather than get the turnover. Yeah, the turnover isn't great. So at this point, you're trying for the 1-1 draw probably as LeMarseillais. Just try to get the draw and if you just try and get the draw here, if you just get in the way, and then eventually Andy's got to roll dice to get past you. If he fails, he drops the ball, and you just win anyway, right? Like with Dark Elves, you're just playing like a normal safe half most of the time, and then you hope your opponent makes a mistake and just like gives you the ball, and that happens a decent amount of the time. Obviously, less so with Andy. Like in this matchup, I'm picking Andy versus LeMarseillais. But I think if you had to make me choose which one I'd rather be, in just like if it was a practice game, me versus me, I'd back me with the Dark Elves more than me with the Old Willow Lights, I think.
So since we were just talking about it, the sure hands and secure the ball conversation, someone in chat, Coleman, has asked if that's definitely correct, that you can't use sure hands on secure the ball, believes that might be a question to be raised in an FAQ. I was of the understanding that you couldn't use secure the ball, sure hands and secure the ball. Jimmy, I don't know if that's one that you know. I'm not going to claim to be the person who knows that rulebook inside out, so that's a thing I could be wrong on.
I'm going to check right now.
There's people in chat suggesting that it is as I said it, but I definitely don't have inside information. If there is any doubt, that was my impression from when I had read it. But I will let other people discuss the exact on that rules. But just to confirm for chat that I'm not saying that from some position of inside knowledge. That was just my understanding from reading the rulebook.
Yeah, it's completely clear in the rulebook. It says not when making a secure the ball action. So it definitely doesn't need a FAQ of any kind. It explicitly states not when making a secure the ball. So there you go.
So you were right.
So I was right. Chat, make a note in your diary. It happens every now and then. So this is what Jimmy was just talking about. The Dark Elves, obviously, if they want to win the game, they would need to be aggressive, but they don't need to win the game. A draw keeps the series level going into game 2. And we're seeing now some form of the elf screen. The elf screen, of course, classic elf strategy. We talked about it last year. And the most traditional form of elf screen is when you just have a line of players and you back it up with another line of players immediately behind it. What we see here is a slightly more offset version where the second line is at an angle to the front line. And you've also got, what I think is quite interesting here, Jimmy, is that there's almost like a doubling up. So LeMarseillais has put the 2 Dark Elf blitzers with dodge next to a lineman. And my immediate thought with that is, doesn't it allow Andy to use his guard maybe to create some position advantages? But I'm certain there's a reason for it as well.
Yeah, well, it means you've got to commit more to get your 2 dice, and it means he's going to get an attack back on you unless you put in more stuff to do it. So it's interesting. You'd see it a lot more recently than in the olden days. Like it's more of a recent innovation. This big long line. Amazons do it a lot, and Dark Elves do it a fair amount. Elves, in fact, just do it a fair amount nowadays. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's less effective versus all of this guard. But even then, you have to be able to back everything up to it to be able to put in and make the hits. And
casualty. First casualty of the tournament. Sorry to interrupt you, Jimmy, but we have our first casualty of the whole tournament. Andy finally getting some value for that tackle mighty blow. I'm sure he is punching the air in his playing cubicle. He has got the Dark Elves down to 9 players, which is still... 9 Elves is not a bad number to be on for turn 11, to be absolutely honest with you. You can still make a pretty good defense with 9 Elves, in my experience. But still, every removal counts, and Andy will be happy to have that bit of pitch space. Sorry to interrupt you on that, Jimmy, because you were saying about the line, and I think that line, which we talked about last year, just the Amazon... team uses it so well because they have the potential to have a little bit of guard, a little bit of defensive, which of course neutralizes your opponent's guard. Maybe we'll get to see Amazon later in this tournament. We're not seeing them today, so it would require Nightwatch to win, but we might see that come into play. But as Jimmy says, this is a variation on it, so not a complete line, not a complete L screen. It's almost somewhere between the two, with using the doubling up of players, but still having that second line as well. Very, very interesting how... It's super interesting to me how these little wrinkles come up from one year to the next. You see certain strategies become almost like more trendy, become more popular, and then they go out of popularity. Even the DACA that we were talking about earlier, there have been periods when that's very popular, periods when it's less popular. And some of that comes down to which teams are available in the game. Some of it just comes down to people thinking they've found that little edge, that little bit of thing that works. And then, of course, when someone succeeds, they get copied and other coaches go, oh, that worked for them, I'll give it a go. And we see the tactics all evolve. So really enjoy seeing how that stuff plays out. But
I was surprised to see his defense, like with exposing so many players. My first thought will be he's exposing those players, so he will end his turn with everybody in contact of them. But actually, maybe because he put that many players, it will take so many Old World Alliance that it will expose the ball, so he's not taking this choice.
yeah, I
That's
think
logical.
that's pretty much what you were just saying, isn't it, Jimmy?
Yeah, you've got to put in such a commitment. Like I mean, you could have used the ogre. To be fair, like it's actually hard to hit the ogre back. You could have just put in the ogre and a blitzer, and that would have been enough. But even then, you still want to put like a couple of guards next to the blitzer to make sure you can't hit and run with it. I know that's a skill, but if you think of it just like as a concept, what you want to do with your blitzer is you want to hit somebody and then go back into the cage or behind a screen or where you're not getting hit. So by doing a line like he did, if Andy hits with his tackle mighty is probably getting hit back. So he'd have had to put in a huge commitment of guards to protect the tackle mighty afterwards, and or blitz he could have just blitzed with the ogre as well. So yeah,
I think that's a great point about the tackle mighty specifically as well. That's so clearly like Andy's biggest weapon in this matchup because it's a threat to everything. It's very clearly like his favorite toy in this matchup. I think it just is, and I think that specifically the fact that you'd have to base that piece is a part of the dilemma that maybe I hadn't thought about when I was considering that as well. Like it's not just that you're basing something, you're basing the piece you're most scared of losing, and which, as we saw in the first half, LeMarseillais did go out of his way to get hits on it where he could. So super interesting detail in the observation there from Jimmy, I think.
Finally, now he's going for the contact, I guess.
But still, at some point, you have to move forward. And so it looks like that's exactly what's now happening.
Yeah, turn 12, isn't it? Turn 4 panic. And like it's your win con, basically, isn't it? You're the way you win this is by removing players so that he can't stop you as well. And if you don't remove players or get removed yourself, you just don't win. Like this is the problem. Like this is why I kind of favor the Dark Elves, because in one of the games, probably the Dark Elves outbash the Old World Alliance. Well, then they win that game almost guaranteed, So it's like you have to be outbashing them as the Old World Alliance. You have to be outbashing them.
Well, really, in the first half, for a long time, there weren't removals, but actually the OWA were getting the stuns where the Dark Elves weren't. So actually, there was even a period in this game where it felt like that was going a bit in LeMarseillais' direction. But yeah, I mean, it feels to me, Jimmy, like I suppose you can't say you're happy when you are drawing the game in on defense because you don't want to lose the game, and currently it's scary, you might lose the game. But in terms of how this drive has gone, would you say LeMarseillais probably quite happy to have got this far and have the position he does?
I wouldn't say happy. He might get a hit on the ball here, but I wouldn't say happy, but maybe not completely unhappy. It's not good, is it? Like he hasn't got anything. He's just standing in the way. He's lost some players, but Andy is still only just over halfway. Like that's the good thing that Lemars has got going for him. There, Andy's only just over the halfway line. So if you can just stay in front of him, at least keep the center, then something can happen.
I think the other thing to say with OWA after all the talk about how slow they are in the first half, they are slow, but when they need to, they can hand off to a player that's movement 8, which most slow teams can't do.
Yes, yeah, the team is slow, but they do have a couple of quick players. It's a bit like Necromantic, right? Necromantic have the movement 8 werewolf or werewolves and the movement 7 wolves, but everything else is really slow.
Ooh, that's a big removal on an armor 10 piece. Just roll 11 into 10, that'll work.
Do you keep the apothecary here because you just want to use it on a KO, basically?
I think in this situation, there's almost no reason to use it on that because Andy's almost certainly not going to have another long drive. He might have a short defensive drive at most. You have players on the bench, so you can replace it. And again, like you just said that there with the KO, he's not getting it back for this drive. So really what he probably would want to use the apothecary on is keeping a player on the pitch for right now because this drive is the most important one.
Yeah, if it was overtime, maybe he'd apothecary it. But
Yeah.
as far as this goes now, I think we've just got to hold the line.
Again, for anyone who's watching who doesn't know the format, because we've got a lot of people watching, we have a draw is possible here. We have a best of 3 scenario in which this game can be a draw and the next game can be a draw. It is only the third and final game, if required, that would go to overtime. So the draw is not just possible, but very much what one of these two teams, the Dark Elves, is playing for right now. And yes, that means that the apothecary there, realistically, even if it succeeded, would probably only mean that player being on the pitch for 1 or 2 turns. And that is not enough impact for something that only succeeds 6 out of 16 times in the current rule set. Again, that's the thing that's going to change when we get the new rules pack for Warhammer Blood Bowl. But for now, the apothecary is not very reliable. Which, when you see that apothecary, the orc with the big meat cleaver, you can understand why that wouldn't always be a successful healing strategy.
Yeah.
Works sometimes.
If you need some meat for a barbecue, he seems to be the right guy to go to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe that one should team up with the Halfling Master Chef. We didn't see any Halfling teams in this year's tournament. Again, if people have been following from the start, they will have seen that there were some Goblin teams in the World Championship, and they did okay. The Goblin teams, well, didn't they?
Yeah.
They got some big wins.
They did well. They reached the knockout, like Dostaridan, the Australian player, I believe. Yeah. The knockout run 2 with the Goblins. Did he win one, or did he not? I can't remember.
Jimmy, did he make it through a knockout round, or did he just make it to the knockout rounds?
He won the first game versus Toast Guys Black Orcs, but then he lost the next two.
Of course, it was the Goblin derby almost, because Black Orcs have Goblins on their team as well. And then Shujirasti as well made it to the group stage from the play-ins. So both the Goblin teams, because Darsley Dan had also started in the play-ins, both those ones that made it through started from all the way at the start and made it a really, really fun story for those of us who love goblins. It might just be me in this group, I'm not sure. I don't know about Vitok. I know Jimmy is not always on Team Goblin, but I am on Team Goblin.
I don't play them, but I think they're fun to watch, definitely. But there's high variance in their play, but it's fun to watch for sure.
Yeah. I always have this conversation with people. I think it's a fun one to have. Again, when we have people watching with different relationships to Blood Bowl who are newer and maybe some who are more or less experienced, but people are asking which team they should play, which team they should try as a new player. I always think first thing is just, it's a fantasy game. Which races do you resonate with? And for me, Goblins, even though they weren't my first team was Wood Elves, but they are one of the races that resonates with me because at heart, I am a Goblin. So absolutely love the Goblins in all fantasy stories, and I love them on Blood Bowl as well. But this is shaping up as a big turn for, well, both of them really. Andy has made this little push to the left-hand side, hasn't he, Jimmy? He's tried to find a little bit of space.
Yeah, this is nice from LeMarseillais, though. He's going to blitz the Garda and chain off the tackle so he can dodge or punch the tackle. In fact, maybe he's not even... No, yeah, I was going to say dodge away, but that is not a dodge play, so I guess he's just actually going to punch the tackle, potentially. Or is he going to push him back? Well, he pushes his one foot onto the ball. Oh, that's spicy.
Ooh.
That is spicy, isn't it?
So we have an uphill here.
That is, I was not expecting that. I was just thinking he was going to knock away the tackle so he could dodge out, but he hasn't even got dodge on that blitzer. So,
But if you take this uphill and get it, so you have to roll. Gosh, what's the odds? 1 in 9 chance.
11%, yeah, 11%.
But if you make it, you might even be able to run off with it because you have got a blitzer on the other side. No, we're moving that first. Well, that's fair enough. Make it safer first, but I could have understood not doing that first and giving yourself a chance because that becomes a game-winning situation at that point.
So you don't reroll that, I guess. Yeah, you don't.
No, I think especially having chosen to move that one back and be cautious.
If he'd re-rolled it, he'd have got dub skulls.
Good choice not to re-roll. What do you think about that one, Jimmy? Because it gives you a potentially huge boost if it works, but having done it has effectively taken one player out of your defense when it fails.
Yeah, it kind of 2 players, right? Because he could have also dodged that lineman behind him away, but if he had, it would have been a 3 dice uphill. So he had to keep him in. So it's cost him 2 players to do it. So yeah, I don't like it, no. Especially given like how late it is. It's the positional cost is massive as we're seeing right now.
Does it almost feel like one of those moves that would have felt better if you were 1-0 up in the game? Because then you're looking at a slightly lower risk to failure, whereas here the risk of failure is quite big, right? Because now if Andy does take this space and score, it's going to cost you the game.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have liked it then either.
You wouldn't like it either way.
but if it'd been earlier in the drive, right? If this had been turn 10, then you've got time to come back and stand in the way and, maybe pull apart the cage, as Andy leaves some of his players behind, so like that kind of thing could have worked. But no, I think this is too late in the drive and too easy for Andy to move over.
So Andy is claiming that space, one of the phrases that you hear a lot in Blood Bowl, claiming that space, making that space on the right side of the pitch. All his with that big chunky cage. But there is still danger here, I think, for Andy in staying too narrow, isn't there? If that cage doesn't have some alternative places to go, it can get swamped still. So interested to see where he's going to bring this last player. We're obviously going to blitz with it off the near side.
There's only one word to say about this.
Frustration reroll? No, I thought he might have frustration reroll that, but
I think there's been.
It's late, isn't it? Not too many turns left.
I think there's been pretty good reroll discipline from both of them, to be honest. Obviously, LeMarseillais had to spend 2 rerolls early in the last drive, but both of them were fairly necessary because the first one was on a short pickup. You can't leave that one. The second one was a risky choice to open on a 1 dice block, but once you'd made that decision, you had to spend the reroll. So really, other than that, we haven't seen anything that's at all.
I have the feeling it's quite late in the match now, and it's not looking good for the Dark Elf. What would you try, guys, with your experience? I don't know as a player what I will do there, actually, because you need to, try something, I guess, right?
Yeah, this is a question that I run into sometimes with the elf screening tactic in general. Okay. What we're trying is to push the ball backwards here. Just trying to give yourself back that square.
Maybe base him, yeah. I think just swarm it, right? You can leave the ogre and the lineman on the other side there, a bit isolated, can't you? So you can kind of swarm and have a numerical advantage where the ball around the ball. So it's not too bad. Even now for LeMarseillais, he's got the speed to get over. He's just got to stop the cut back to where the ogre is and where the tackle mighty is. So it is tough still.
I think that's definitely like what I was wondering when I looked at that cage at the beginning of the turn. Is it was quite a packed together cage, as whether there was a chance just to squeeze it. But Andy has got, as you would expect, a really nice positioning with the guard down here at the bottom. Obviously, if there was a chance to hit that tackle mighty blow and push it back, that would be very helpful, but you can't really. This feels to me like it's leaving a lane still to come back to on the left. Maybe not. We'll see. Oh, takes the extra dodge and gets punished for it, the KO. I think that was fair enough, though, for me. I think you didn't want that player where it was, so you had to make a decision to roll a dice to get it somewhere better.
Yeah, I would like to roll an extra dice there. I think even just standing him up would have been kind of fine. He's
Do you
he's
think so?
occupying a loner block, maybe two.
Oh, that was armbar. Chat catching that was armbar that got the removal, so Andy did call
No
that.
way.
Andy did. Andy said before the game when he was talking to me that he thought armbar could be used. So yes, it is, and not just because it makes the removal. It wouldn't even have been an armor break without armbar. So armbar huge on that one.
Wow.
Goodness gracious, armbar doing work. But again, that's not just totally by chance. Andy did say to me before the game that he was going to try to work that into his plans. So he does think about these things. Where are you looking here, Jimmy? Because I was thinking switch back. You could, I suppose, force down the right-hand side, but I think the position is reasonably strong for the elves on the right.
Yeah, the problem with the switch, what you could do, you could switch sides by like making a box and changing the witch elf and getting a bit more breathing space. But it's still not wonderful to do that. But I think that's what he'll do.
And this is turn 15, by the way, so this you have to have your scoring threats this turn.
That's the difference between draw and win for him, I guess, this turn.
Yeah, critical turn.
Yes,
So
Mrs.
he's
says
making the box.
armbar is a skill, which it's not seen that often because it's not considered a particularly high-powered skill, but it starts on the Old World Alliance dwarves, and it gives you a +1 armor or injury roll, the same way that Mighty Blow works, just on a failed dodge. Oh, another removal for Andy. They are finally stacking up.
It's basically a skill you never take. You just take it if it's
Yeah.
come with the player, right?
Well, in this edition, it also would be sometimes a skill you might get on a random skill roll. Although even then, you see a lot of coaches who dislike it so much that they would fire the player and replace it rather than keep it. But it comes for free on Old World Alliance and does do, as we've seen in this game, sometimes some useful things.
Yep.
Oh. Okay, so he will have to roll a rush if he wants to score with a
With the thrower.
yeah with a thrower.
This is back to Jimmy's point about them just not being a fast team, and it's. I do think these last couple of removals, the one from the dodge and then the one just now this turn on the hit, are all making it harder for LeMarseillais. But this is not going to be a guaranteed score, is it? You're going to be able to make the OWA roll some dice this turn 16.
One reroll
Yeah.
on one is not only for elves.
Oh,
No?
listen. If there is one thing that even the newest players in chat will understand, it is that the 2+ to get into the end zone is the hardest 2+ you can possibly roll.
At the end of the one turn, yeah. As a
Exactly.
Skaven coach, that's what I experienced.
The 2+, the 2+ rush into the end zone. The tripwire waits for everyone. But yes, I do think it's a very difficult turn to defend, because if you look at the board here, Andy has a real concentration of players on the left-hand side, but he also has, oh, interesting, that's the one we're going for. I was about to say he also has the catcher. So that's where LeMarseillais has put his blitz, take out the catcher, and then I guess put the screen in front of where the ball is now.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, you can screen the throw, but you have to knock over the catcher. So yeah, I like that.
Very nice armor break as well, meaning that catcher really is not scoring. And now you can put everything else into screening on the other side.
Not sure about that.
The only question is, do you have enough elves left to make a good screen?
No, not really. You could have done. He could have rushed that. He could have rushed that witch elf back,
5 players, yeah.
and he hasn't. And it looks like he's going to make another punch. And 4 players is not going to do enough. I don't think. He needed 6.
The thing as well, Jimmy, just because we talk a lot, and you talk a lot on your streams about safe moves first. it was correct to do that witch elf first, wasn't it? Because the witch elf was saving you some dodges with different players by doing that first.
I could have done all these first, though, couldn't he?
Well, but they're taking rushes. But yes,
Not
I
the
suppose
rushes,
they
but
were
he did
all
them, yeah.
equally important. So yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I think get the screen in front first, so he doesn't get the free score, right?
Yeah, that's the
Get
easiest
the
score.
screen in first, and then do the blitz, and then the witch elf should have rushed back, and he should have kept a space in between these, right? The blitzer and the runner should be one square back.
Yeah.
And yeah, if he'd rushed back with a witch elf after he blitzed, he could have had a proper triple screen.
I think you're explaining that well. I agree with you. If that witch elf is part of the screen here, it looks much stronger. Whereas right now, there's a pretty obvious gap for Andy to go through, and it is that blitzer on the right hand side. That would be a double rush for the thrower to score in that way, I think. But
Double rush or dodge, probably double rush, I guess.
if you've got the rerolls, which Andy does, I think it's definitely the double rush, isn't it? So, this is. I always say I am not the maths expert in Blood Bowl. I think there are some very good Blood Bowl players who are very good at maths. But one that I have learned many, many years ago from playing lots of Blood Bowl is that 2+2+, even with one reroll, is better than a 3+. So, in general, the double rush is better.
Yeah.
Maths is for nerds, says Hargrim. Couldn't agree more.
Sometimes that's the difference between the win and the lose, right?
Absolutely. No, absolutely. I think some of the best players really do use those small details of the numbers to work out the best lines, and sometimes those make all the difference. So that blitzer going further back, Jimmy, is that making things harder?
No.
I'm trying to work out how it would, and I don't know.
I think he was thinking he could stop it getting hit by the Mighty Blow tackle. I think that was his idea, but the Mighty Blow tackle can still reach him.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really help at all. Like, Andy doesn't have a wrestle that could hit him, which would be obviously the best thing you could do is hit him with wrestle. But he can still just reach him with a Mighty Blow tackle, so it doesn't really do anything. He still just needs to push him to get the double rush score.
Here it goes. Andy's making sure he's not blocking his own path, I'm certain. Rolls double pow. As you say, no rushes were required for that blitz, I don't think.
No. Now double rush for the thrower for the win.
There's 2 ones just came out of the dice log there on the armor roll, so maybe that saved the trip one. No. Ooh. Makes it. Oh my goodness.
So we're not cursing anyone today. That's good.
Oh, you can bet that Andy's heart was in his mouth when that first rush popped the reroll right away.
Yeah.
Well. 2-1 to Andy. It is not impossible to score a 1-turn with this many elves, and we know that because Purple Chest did it in the last round. But it is mighty hard, isn't it, Jimmy?
Yes, well, the thing is, Purple Chest did it versus no one-turn defense at all.
Yeah.
And Andy has no push denial defense. He backlined, Tector backlined, but he didn't have any push defense. So obviously Andy's going to set up some push defense now. And then against push defense, it becomes very, very difficult. Even with 2 rerolls, and knowing exactly what you're doing, it's very difficult.
And the guard as well here all makes that difficulty level just a little bit harder. LeMarseillais has got a little bit of time bank left, not a huge amount actually, down to 1 minute and 3 seconds on the time bank, but it's a World Championship game, should take absolutely as long as he needs to try to work it out. Andy's taking as long as he can, I think, here, or as long as he needs, I think, here to make sure he thinks his defense is as good as it can be. This is quite an interesting shape, actually. It's not symmetrical, and it's created a line to go through, but it's also put that extra guard piece down close to the line. And then that catcher, I'm not quite sure what that does, but I'm certain Andy's thought about it and it does something.
That's cutting off running around the back, isn't it?
Right.
I think What you probably should do here as the Witch Elves is, because the one turn is so unlikely, just set up for the timeout. Set up for the timeout and the quick snap. Importantly, the quick
Yeah.
snap. The quick snap used to be that you could just move players a square, but now they have to be unmarked. So you want to keep, one of your blitzers or your Witch Elf. You want to keep one of those unmarked, ready to move in on the quick snap. And that's absolutely what you should do. You should be playing for the quick snap and the timeout at the same time.
I will be honest with you, looking at this as I am right now, even with a quick snap, I'm going, that's pretty stinking hard. Like, I don't see an obvious quick snap answer jumping out.
But you've just got to put it. You've got to put it two to the right of the ogre or two to the left of the blitzer, and then you've just got a chance. You can think about it later if you get the quick snap, but at least give yourself a chance for something on the quick snap. I think you have to.
I definitely can agree with that, and giving yourself a chance to be lucky. And so much of Blood Bowl is just giving yourself a chance to be lucky, because sometimes you will. There's always the possibility until the dice have stopped being rolled.
Yep.
If sometime it happens, it will be a good time, I guess, for LeMarseillais.
Absolutely. Dark Elves right now wishing they had a halfling to throw. That's what they're wishing. Halfling supremacy in the World Championship. Will that be the decider in our first game of the tournament? That halfling throw for the OWA. It's looking likely at the moment. Yeah, it's looking likely.
This is only a timeout at the moment that's helping LeMars.
Well, he's set up to try the one turn, and he hasn't set up for the quick snap, I would say, with this. I don't know what the plan is, but he is set up with a formation that suggests he's going to try the push into that pocket and try from there. So we did not get a timeout. We got a Blessed Statue of Nuffle, which is giving someone a skill, I think, on Andy's side. No, it's on...
Yes.
No, it's on
LeMarseillais'
side.
He got pro on his blitzer.
Well, if anyone's going to have it, that blitz is a useful one to have it on. If the ball gets there, that player could need it for a rush. You never know.
He's just got to one dice the ogre. Is that how he's got to start this?
It looks like that's the only way from here. I can't see another way you're going to do it unless it's some serious dodging.
Could start by getting the ball to the blitzer, I guess.
Here's the one dice, rolls a pow, has to re-roll it. Gets a push. It's not over. It's not over. You've still got some dice to roll here.
Still one reroll.
This is a 2 dice, I think. With the
Yeah,
guard,
I think what he should have done is he should have gone to the square below the lineman, and then with the runner, and then passed it last turn. He should have passed it.
Yeah, this is
Not
actually
last-
awkward with the guard, isn't it? This is still uphill.
1 dice, isn't it? Yeah, 1 dice.
Okay, filling the squares he needs to fill for later.
Yeah.
This is so tough.
With the time bank also, so yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Going for the pass now so he can fill that square and make it a 2 dice, but fails the first pickups, are now out of rerolls. Has to throw from in the tackle zone. It's inaccurate, so we'd have to get very lucky here now with the deflection. Doesn't, and that is game over. AndyDavo, who was with us in the studio just a moment ago, will be later on, but he is in Paris with us, and he is in with a very strong position at the end of game 1 of the quarterfinal. Claims the first win of finals weekend, 2-1. Really, really interesting game. I thought both coaches did a lot of things really well, and I thought that there were some really interesting decisions made along the way in that game, but overall feels to me like the better coach in the key moments came out of that one.
Probably no terrible dice roll neither. I feel for any of the of 2 coaches. So well, I guess Andy will come out from this one with confidence. No, for the next one, only needed to secure a draw to get his tickets for the semifinals.
Yeah, absolutely. As we've said, so you've got one win in your pocket. That means you just need to draw the second game and you are through, which means we will be set up for a super, super fascinating set 2 now. LeMarseillais has to play with a different mindset, has to win this second game